Y'all ain't ready for this. Y'all didn't ask for it, but we bringing it to your front door. Or should I say your speakers? Look, I made it.
When you're working too hard, but they call it to come up.
You are listening to JPM Uncut, the realest wedding podcast.
Hosted by the man himself.
If you don't know the voice,
Justin Porter.
And my wifey for life.
Wifey.
Let's get it started. You know what it is. Oh, here we go. And just like that, we are back with another episode of JPM Uncut. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are crushing this wedding season. If you are new here listening, I want to let you know that we are posting podcast episodes weekly every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Or is it 7:30 p.m.? Or is it 4:30 p.m.? It's 4:30 p.m.
You forgot already.
I forgot. It's new. Listen, we're going to be a little rough around the edges, but give us about a month of dropping podcast episodes and things will be smooth sailing, okay? Mm-hmm. So all the kinks, like this is the reality of it. I'm not here to try to make it fake, okay?
We'll just say every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, we drop a new podcast episode. Video episodes will be available on YouTube, Spotify, and in the JPM Live Academy if you're a member.
Yes.
Be sure to tune in. This podcast is unscripted. It's uncut, just as the name says. My wife, as the co-host, is bringing the topics. The whole reason for that is so that my, kind of answers and commentation is just organic. I don't want to pre kind of.
Exactly. You don't want to get it all
I don't want to get
ready
it all
in your head beforehand.
Yeah. I want to just sit down and go
talk about it on the spot. It's the best way to do it.
It's the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. I want to bring a different perspective your way. If you're like me and you're driving out to these weddings, you typically like to tune into some knowledge and just listen to people talk. And for me,
best for a road trip.
I found that amazing. So that's where the birth of JPM Uncut came from.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome.
Oh.
I feel like this is a really good topic for especially right now because, everything has just blown up so much. And, we're even on our way to unleashing this live academy where you're going to be teaching. And, I just feel like it's a great topic because you battle it almost every day.
I do. And I think a lot of people don't realize that either, that reach out to me. And as much as they say that I'm an inspiration, it kind of like eases my nerves in a way when I get those messages.
But it's so funny because then 20 minutes later you'll be like, "Oh, babe, am I even good?"
It's only because I don't know. It's like I'm always trying to do something different, and I'm trying to make it better and perfect it. And then when I rewatch it or I look at something else, like that's a big thing too. Is I always compare my work to the next talented person. I watch things on Instagram, I consume content everywhere. So when I see it, then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like maybe it's not that good. It's hard not to think this way when
I don't get it.
And then I'm just kind of in my own lane. I've always been that way. I've always only cared about what I can control. I don't try to get outside of that and go, well, I couldn't control this, I just try to focus on what I know I can, and that's the only thing that's in my lane. And so when I'm focus so much, and then I step out and look outside and like, oh, what are they doing in the fast lane? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, no, let me get back over.
It's like when you finally put your head up because you're always just down, consumed in your work. What's next? And then sometimes it's like, I have to bring you up and be like, babe, look at, and I feel like, obviously, and I feel like it doesn't really get to that point where you do come up and look until you've met like one of your goals. For example, like the studio. I just noticed that this was such a big goal for you for so long. And now that you have it, like I just noticed that you look up and you just take it in.
Creativity too. It takes the imposter syndrome. It's like, as I built this and I look back and I was able to go, oh wow, look at the set. Look at how things look. Which, by the way, if y'all are listening to this, we also have the video podcast available on Spotify. So just a little plug real quick for you.
Oh, yeah. Got the whole nice setup.
If you want to watch the setup.
The first one in this nice
I literally did it for you.
Setup.
I did it for you.
For me?
For whoever's listening right now. For you too. But I did it for you. I wanted you guys to be able to watch and then not just be audio.
I remember when you were like, we should do video. I'm like, hey, we don't have to make it like this whole thing with video. And yeah, exactly. If you know Justin Porter.
But yeah, getting back to it, after I did the set, I started to feel it's like little things that get you excited again. Mm-hmm. And so I think the biggest thing for me when we talk about imposter syndrome, and I think when it really, really like I believe it in my heart and soul that I am a fraud, oh my God, it's when I'm tired. It's when I'm exhausted. Like, you just don't get it. Like, you go, and I know some of y'all listening probably can relate, but we literally have a routine that is pre-mapped for us. We edit Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday if you have a Friday wedding. Then you go film. You know, we're talking 10, 12 plus hours filming, eating twice because you don't get a break. And then if you're like me, you got 2 weddings, maybe 3 a weekend. And then Monday morning comes and it's rinse and repeat. You're back at the computer nonstop. You're emailing. You're trying to create content. You're trying to get edits out. You're color grading. You're mixing. You're trying to work with your team. And so for me,
so much work.
When I get exhausted, that's when I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not anything. I failed. I've lost it all.
You're like depleted. I hate it. It's the worst. Like, just to see you like that. But I mean, I can see what you mean about, obviously I see you work tirelessly around the clock and how much
as I try to get separation
into this. Yeah. And so I feel like when you get to that point, you're just like so drained. It's like you're also mentally drained.
And that's where, like, I think the exhaustion is where the imposter syndrome, it's like, I mean, it's the seed of the devil. I promise you.
No,
I'll be doing
it.
good. And then I feel it's just like everything just I start to attack everything I've been doing. Yeah. Like, I think we got into it not too long ago about the academy. We're like, oh yeah, you were excited about it. And I'm like, no, we need to do this. This is not going to work, babe. Like, I just started feeling like none of this. You just get
anxious about it. I swear, and I say this all the time, I feel like my main job is just like getting you out of your own way and like picking you up in those moments, being like, babe, stop. Like, what do I have to do? Do you want me to bring up TikTok and show you the thousands of comments that people...
It's just hard. It's hard to shake it when you know, like, you know, and then the things that I compare my own work to, I'm watching, you know, like the Netflix shows and the documentaries, and I'm just like constantly like, how can I implement it? How can I get this better? It's just until I feel like I can look at it and go, wow, this looks like art. This looks like
until it's yours on the Netflix screen.
Maybe even then I'm gonna be like, all right, how do we get it on Hulu?
He'll never settle until then.
I feel like that really gets to me in a way when, you know, really gets strong when I am tired and when I start feeling like, okay, we got other things that are going on, so many things going on that my mind just starts to shut down and attack all of it.
Yeah.
Or I'm just saying, you get one of them emails. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Excuse me, just wondering when you're gonna have our film. You know what I'm talking about. That email comes through, even if it's within the time frame or your back schedule. It's just like I instantly feel like, oh crap, if I don't get this done,
like, you almost feel this crumbling sensation within you. Because even I started getting the anxiety. We'll be
on highs. We'll be like, oh man, we got this going. This is so great. Oh my God, man, we doing this. And then bloop, bloop, you get that alert, and it's just like, that's it. Life is over.
It is like, it's just difficult running a business. And I wanted to just bring up this topic because I feel like, you know, people probably look at you and don't even think that you battle imposter syndrome.
All the time.
And of course, like everybody does. So I think it's just good to show that even you, with this large community, this large platform, so many people following you, love your work, love your passion, and truly are inspired by you, like that you battle those things like daily.
Like I feel the pressure. And I think that's another thing that adds to the imposter syndrome. It's not only that I'm, you know, like people are making assumptions about my work before I started to believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, this looks like a movie. I'm like, what? Whoa, hold up. Oh, bro, you should do documentaries. I'm like, whoa. This looks like an actual TV show. Whoa. Like that stuff started coming in. So then it's like I felt the pressure of like, okay, now I really got to
make it look like a movie.
What if I don't deliver? What if I post it and they hate it? Then it's like it's like that. I'm battling. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not getting on here saying that I don't think my work is good.
Yeah.
I do love what I'm doing, and I do notice the difference, and you know just the difference in the quality and the work itself.
You have those high highs.
I do.
I'm just saying, like you have those
low lows are
sometimes.
low. They're low.
Every once in a while,
they're like
they
we're
can
talking
get pretty
bottom
low.
floor low.
Yeah.
Like they're low.
Yeah, they can get down there.
But I think you know, you said this a second ago, just the pressure of running a business. And I think that's all the things. It's not just the work and the creative aspect, but we're in this wedding space, especially wedding filmmakers, photographers. We're one of the only vendors that leave. Well, actually, I think we are. We're the only vendor that leaves the wedding
And
and still has work to
do.
do. A lot days of work to do, you know? And so whereas it's kind of opposite, right? Coordinator, they're the only ones that are in most cases
There's
doing
more
a lot
pressure
of
on the
work
wedding
ahead
day
of time.
and ahead of time.
But everybody else, they show up after that send off, they go home and they forget about the couple.
And they're done.
The job is done.
Yeah.
Catering, they're not worried about dinner tomorrow night. They're done. They're done, you know? And I think with us, it's so much pressure because those people, those vendors, right? The DJ, they get to leave and they get to go home and they can go to the lake the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Us, we're instantly on a timer.
I know. You barely get that break on the weekend to just decompress. And I mean, that was like a big motivation for the studio too, was just to get it separated from the house. And so that way, when you do come home, you can just be home and not feel like if you do get an email, oh, babe, I got to go back in the room
That
to
has
edit.
been the hardest part. And I think if anybody's listening to this and you're on the fence about an office space, I wish we would have done this even smaller scale. Like obviously this is pretty large
it's like
space,
a co-working space or something for you to
something.
separate it from the house.
Because you have no idea how much I feel so much more productive leaving home and coming to work. You know, I leave at 5:30 a.m. I come work, and then I still have the same amount of time as you with the kids when they get home from school. So it's like I'm not missing. I'm still putting in my 8 to 10 hours behind the computer, but then I'm
10
also
to
putting
12.
yeah. I mean, I'm there for a while, but I'm still getting enough time with the family, which was something that was like I felt so much pressure as okay, we got to work, we got to deliver films. We gotta, you know, I'm still doing things with the style, trying to improve the style. So
trying to grow the team.
team. And then on top of it, I have to be a husband and I gotta be a dad. You know, I gotta be a son. I gotta go visit my mom and family. And then it was just like, wait a minute, like, you know, and then I would feel guilty. You know,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a
I'm going to
lot
the
to
gym
balance.
and I'm at the gym and I feel guilty because I'm not editing. But then when
Yeah.
I'm editing, I feel guilty because I didn't work out. But then when I'm home, I feel guilty because I know I should be editing. And if I'm editing, I feel guilty because I know I should be doing something with the family. It's just like now having this peace of mind, this separation, it helps reduce those stress levels, which like I said, in my case, I think the imposter syndrome comes in when I am stressed out and at a really
At that
low
really,
point or an exhausted mental state.
Yeah.
And having this space, having an office to just separate and go do work and then leave work. Like even when I'm at home and an email comes in, I can't do anything about it. Oh,
Yeah, it's good. There's not like
I can't go up and
you can't
and
just go
export
up in the
this.
room.
Yep.
You just have to wait.
And a lot of us, we have these home offices and we're clocking in 12 to 15 hours every
Yeah.
day without even realizing it. Only coming out to use the bathroom and grab food. I mean, I remember one time I got started and I came in there and then my son came in, Caden came in, and he's like, hey, can you do this on my game before I go to bed? And I was like, I was supposed to do that at like 3 o'clock. It was like 8:15. His bedtime's 8:30. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like
The
it was
day
just
goes
like,
by and you don't
it
even
goes so quick.
realize.
And I think all of that just messes with your mind. We're doing this creative process. And once you get to a point of exhaustion, it is a trickle effect because then it takes your mind and you go, one, like I said, you start attacking your stuff. Or like me, I start attacking everything that I'm trying to do. Am I good? Do people really like me? Are they lying to me? Like,
yeah.
and then I start neglecting the priorities, you know, my family, I'm not there. And then not only that, but then the creative process also takes a hit because when you're tired, those edits are not as good as they could have been when
No.
you're recharged. They're
Not
just
at all.
not. And I think that's something that we all need to take and start thinking about, which I'm glad I have a space now. So that's a huge.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I think whenever you came to me, I mean, I could really tell that it was time just because you were like,
I don't even think I
need it
told you. I just
for this reason.
I think
you
we
were
were
like,
fighting about it and not fighting about it.
I mean,
but,
we were just going back and forth for a while, and then finally
We were
you were
waiting
just
for the
like,
right
babe, I
time.
need it. You were like, mentally, I need
need it.
this for the separation.
You remember when I first had the idea, I was like, I don't know if I want to leave all my stuff at the studio. And then like when we were at this point and I was like, babe, I need it. Like I moved everything in overnight.
Yeah,
It was like, I need to get this out of here.
you were ready.
I was ready. And I think I needed to know that, okay, when I'm here, I'm working. And I feel more like encouraged to work because I know I got to leave at 3:00 or 4:00. I know that I'm out the door. I know that at that time, work Justin is off and now it's home Justin. So I have some sort of separation, you know? And to really kick things off, and something that's on the spot, is what we call controversial comments. Controversial comments is a new segment we're starting on the podcast where I actually will respond to some of those negative Nancy's. And not all will be negative, not all will be bad, but I think this is just going to be an argumentative segment of the podcast where people challenge what we're doing.
And the good thing is that you won't even know what it is until I say it also.
I won't know. This is the beauty of it, is she's finding the comments and bringing them to the channel, bringing them to the podcast. So if you are out there thumb thugging,
what?
This is your chance, baby boy. So with that being said, let's jump into some controversial comments. What they say?
What did they say?
Hold up. Read it again.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, whoa.
They said that, babe.
Let's get into these controversial comments.
All right. So this came from the YouTube channel.
Oh, snap. YouTube stay with the thumb thuggers.
Wait, actually, it's from TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. TikTok be thumb thugging.
Okay. Bicky Nice.
All right. What'd they say?
I stopped doing wedding photo and video because of that. People are so cheap and demanding that it totally kills the joy of filming and editing at all.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Right?
It really is a good one because, you know, I'm going to break it down at a sales point. So we're going to take what we do and offer, and we're going to set that aside.
Okay.
We're going to pretend like we're just salesmen and saleswomen. Everybody wants to pay the lowest price for everything. When have you gone to a car dealership and said, no, I want the most expensive car? Never. Even if it is the most expensive car, what's the first thing you do? Oh, will you take 50 for it? You know what I mean? So I think people are in the expectation, because a lot of people that get in the wedding space, weddings in general, a lot of people, this is their first business. This is their first time trying entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So when they started, they assumed that, oh, people are just going to pay what I put on my website. They're going to pay that. It's always going to be a haggle. It's always going to be I give you this for a little bit more. It's always going to be this back and forth thing. Now, you got some people who are firm believers on, you know, price is the price. If you don't want it, you can walk. That's it. That's a great motto. You can live by that.
Yeah.
My motto is kind of a blend of that and a blend of, you know, I run my business like a business. Rather than look at, okay, I'm only charging this person $1,000. I'm looking at, okay, that brought my volume, my total profit volume up $1,000 this month over last month. And so when you think like that, itemizing or breaking down your individual wedding shoots, kind of, you know, you kind of wash that out a little bit. You get a couple that comes in last minute and they want to offer you 50% of your normal, you know, rate. That brought your profit margin up 50%. You know, but again, knowing your limits and knowing like how much you can take on is one thing. But I kind of agree with that comment from Bicky Nice. Bicky Nice. I kind of agree with that comment. But then at the same time, I feel like if you're not good at sales, then you're always going to have that mentality.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to sell your videography business, you're already failing.
Yeah.
You know, why would I hire JPM Weddings versus ABC Weddings? Why do I want to come here? What is the reason for coming and spending, you know, X amount of dollars here versus X amount of dollars there? If there's two companies in your city that both charge the same thing, $3,000, why would someone want to pick the other over the other? What's going to be that deciding factor? That's
where that market research and you know, understanding your marketing and stuff like that really comes into play.
I think it's a big thing that I would see in a lot of the one-on-one calls I used to do when we would deal with like business and marketing, is that a lot of people didn't have a sales strategy. They didn't have a plan for walking their customers from inquiry to booked. And if you can't answer what are the steps to do that, you need to write it out. You need to start working on it right now, because if you don't know that sales funnel, that sales every business should have it. Even if you're in videography, photography, catering, whatever, you should have a sales process, because just because they reached out doesn't mean that's a check. does not mean that's money in the bag. You got to do work,
Absolutely.
you know, and then how do you position it? Every business, I've never seen a company that was the only company that did it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. There's always options. If there's one videographer, there's always more. They can fly more in. They can go down the road. What is the reason for them not booking you?
Exactly. And that's what you have to keep in mind when they come to you. I mean, just like how you always made sure that, all right, we're not going to give them pricing right away. We're going to say, okay, you reached out. My goal is to just get you on the phone.
Get you on the phone.
Because I want to have that more personal conversation with you and make you want to invest in us because
of ABC.
Exactly.
And that's a good thing. That's a good point. My strong tactic is I'm better at explaining. I'm better at talking. I'm not a great writer, which is why we hired a copywriter. You know, shout out to Big Mouth Copy. They're dope. Like if you need a copywriter, I'm just gonna plug them right here. But seriously, like that's why I hired a copywriter. What I am good at is talking about my brand, a brand that I'm passionate about, a brand that I believe in, and a brand that I know that I'm confident in producing a consistent product, a consistent quality video. If you're not good at that, then you need to figure out how you can get good at it. One thing, when I used to do corporate stuff, I see this all the time. This might be you, but think about it. Literally take the hat off. Just because you're the business owner does not mean you need to be the face of the business. Some people are not good at that. Some people are just not good at sales. If you know that the reason you're not being booked is because you can't close the sale, that's fine. Get your wife, get your best friend, find somebody who can close it for you. Because all they need to do is get that contract. You're doing the creative process. The product that they're buying should be displayed on your website. Getting them to buy is not on your website. They don't, they can love your work, hop on a call and be like, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seemed kind of rough around the edges. You know, if you're not selling, if you're not giving them, creating values for them that makes them believe I need to pay that amount of money for that particular person, they won't do it. Of course, they're not going to do it. Or they're going to haggle you so much that you're going to believe that your product isn't worth it. Like with Big Mickey. Is it Big Mickey?
Big Bicky Nice.
Bicky Nice is what Bicky is what Bicky Nice.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's what Bicky Nice was saying. You know, he quit doing it because he or she, I don't know who Bicky Nice is, guy, girl, whatever. But that's why they quit doing it, is because, the industry, quote unquote, was cheap. When it's not though.
Exactly.
And I think
you just have to be firm in your
approach, and you have to know how to sell. I think a lot of us don't close sales because we are not good at closing them. And that takes practice, that takes experience. It takes knowing the strategy and the steps. When you're in a consultation call, is it lingering? Do you notice that your couples are getting lost? Are you hitting them with fact after fact? Is your packages too hard to understand? Is it broken down in a million different ways? All of this should be thought of before you hop on a call.
Those are all really great points.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think I'm not a pro.
I know, but it's still really great business points because people just don't think about it like that. Sometimes they don't think about the more specifics of, when they reach out, maybe not bombarding them with prices right away, maybe trying to get them on the phone, being more personable with them.
You got to get rid of those
instead of just the automatic, right? They inquire and it just automatically sends them a price list.
Imagine if you went to like Tesla, and Tesla just gave you a sheet of numbers instead of just showing you a Tesla Model X. Like, imagine if you went to Tesla and they were like 4 tires, 6,000, 4 seats, 10,000.
I love how you just made that.
Imagine if they just itemized everything.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does, because no one wants to see every sales training I've ever been in. They always said bottom line. Show them the bottom line.
And not when it comes to a service, especially.
Especially a service.
When people are hiring services, obviously they want to know that the person behind that service, doing that service, is also, just somebody that they want to hire, that they believe in, that is going to carry out their vision.
It's like knowing what you're selling and, and how to do it. That's like what I've noticed that, like, Tesla's not going to sell your car and then tell you, oh, it's going to cost us $25,000 to assemble it. They assemble it. That's part of the product.
Yeah.
So like I see a lot of filmmakers who would be like, oh, I've only got a 6-hour package for $4,000, but my 8-hour package is $6,000. Can you make a great film in 6 hours or 8 hours? Like, does it, for me anyway, I can't be there any less than 10 hours. So all my packages just sit all day. I'm there all day because it's like, and I have couples, oh, we don't need 12 hours. Great. I'll be there at 11 a.m. You know what I mean? Like I
Still
don't
gonna be there all day
because it's setting up, it's preparing the gear, it's getting everyone mic'd. It's a process. And like, yes, the couple may think, oh, we only need you to record for 6 hours. I know my process and the product that you are hiring me for. Yeah. You're hiring me for the work that you see on my social media and my website. In order for me to do that, I need to be here. Even if nothing's happening, you just don't know.
So it's also over communicating that because I had a call recently with somebody who was like, how do we get the couple to understand this or that they need to show up on time for this or that? And I'm like, honestly, I think about the microphone situation, wearing the mics on the wedding day and how it plays into your film. If you are hiring me to make this type of film for you, I need you to understand that this is what needs to be done on your wedding day. So over communicate your processes, make sure they understand, even if you have to send up a follow-up email before the wedding day or whatever, just to go over certain things, make sure that they understand.
Yeah, make sure they understand and make sure you know, big emphasis on this, make sure you know what it takes to deliver your product.
Yes.
Okay? Do not book a wedding for 6 hours. And then I hate when I hear this. I hate when I would get on a call and they'd be like, I do a film review and I'm like, man, why didn't you have these shots? Oh, they only paid me to be there for this long. So, I didn't really even bring my gimbal or drone to do it. Like, what? Do not let a contract or time, do not let something like that impact the quality of what you're delivering. If you want to know a great example of this, okay, the Harpers. I solicited to them. They didn't even reach out to me. I DM'd the bride, all right? A lot of y'all have probably seen the Harpers. It's on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. But that's like one of our best ones from last year that we put out. Lots of energy. They got married here in Austin. I reached out to them, and I gave them my price. My price was more than they had in the budget. I asked what the budget was. It was significantly less. It was, but I took it.
Yeah.
I did it.
You did.
When I showed up to that wedding, I did not go, they didn't even pay me what I wanted.
No, you have never done that with any wedding.
I showed up. I produced the same. I am the same way at every wedding, regardless if they paid $10,000 or $2,000, because you just never know when that film will be your best film.
Some of your best work, yeah.
You have no idea. Same thing with Sage and Chance. That was a $1,200 collection.
Yeah.
And it's still arguably one of our best, most cinematic films that we put out. It was the first one that started.
It was the game changer for the style, shifting the style. Yep. And had you not just gone all in like you do every wedding and trying to create, just trying to get better with each wedding, not caring about how much they paid you, I mean, we wouldn't have gotten here.
I think the reason I don't mind what they paid me is because, going back to what I said, my first point is the way I operate my business is I go at a monthly volume versus a 1-to-1 couple ratio. I may have 5 weddings this month, but what's my net income for that month? What's the total of volume for that month? And that's how I will price things. I don't necessarily price it based on, like, I do have my package collections. I know what it takes, but I don't just sit there and go, oh, okay, like I'm only firm on this price or firm on that. Sometimes, like with the Harpers, it's a great couple. It's a great opportunity. Oh man, that energy is what I'm looking for. I know they're going to bring it. I know they're going to bring the energy that I'm trying to show couples we can deliver. And so, yeah, that's a risk. It's an investment. We still make a little bit of money, but I also get a couple who I know is going to match well with the style. Like, imagine if we could just go out and pick our couples. What if the tables were turned? What if we just reached out and was like, hey, I'm filming your wedding. Cool. Like, imagine, right? We'd all have our ideal couple. But, I guess that's enough with that, But I get kind of amped up about it because
I know, I can tell. I'm like, oh, okay, we hit a little string with that one. That was a good one.
I just think a lot of people, just going back and just recap real quick, know your sales process and really, really try to perfect how are you pitching your videography business? How will that stack up against the next person?
Absolutely.
regardless of how great the film is. I hear a lot of people talk about we use 4K cameras, and no one cares about that. How are you selling? Why will I book you and not someone else down the road?
And you have to believe in your product.
Yep, believe in it.
Yep.
So, speaking of believing in it, I think this is a great opportunity to go into our next segment. And just so y'all know, we are opening up segments on the JPM Uncut. So if you are a thumb thugger, then, controversial comments is for you. We get them all the time. We see them through all of the social media, and I just try to go out, and I think this is a great opportunity. It used to get the blood under my skin boiling, which is why when Cassandra brought this to me, it was like, we should talk about these comments on the podcast. I was like, yo, that's perfect. And then our other topic is going to be questions in my DMs, mainly because I get a lot of questions in my DMs all the time. From experienced people to people that just picked up a camera. And so this will be an opportunity to just answer some of those questions right here on the podcast. So if you are, if you message me already, like, don't be surprised. You might get your question up here, especially if I think it could be valuable to other listeners. But another one that we have is Filmmaker Spotlight, because I am very, 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 very motivated and inspired by a lot of filmmakers that I see, both in and out of the wedding industry. And so I'm hoping I can bring a lot of the ones that really do impact the quality and the look of my films and my art. I hope that I can bring them to the podcast just to have a sit down. But even if not, there's a lot of filmmakers that I have communication with that are dope. And this particular filmmaker that we're about to talk about today, oh man, he's up there. He's up there. Let's go ahead and get straight into Filmmaker Spotlight. What's up, y'all? Man, I am excited to get into this week's episode of Filmmaker Spotlight. This guy I have been watching for so long. His work is amazing. I am talking about Iris Films Atlanta, y'all. This is Mr. Tony Pombo. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Justin? How you doing, my man?
Hey, I'm doing well, bro. I'm glad you were able to make this call because, like I said, I have been watching you for so long, your stuff, your work, your shots. I got so many questions. You know what I mean? Like, I got so many things I want to ask as just a fan. Like, I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of the things that you've been doing. And the fact that you can, bounce around with the celebrities, I feel like that's just like, we got to talk about that. We really got to talk about that.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, listen. First of all, the feeling's mutual. You've been killing the game. I love what you're doing out there, man, and mad respect to you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. It's you know how it is. You're just out here. I got the imposter syndrome, and no matter how many people tell me like, "Oh, I love what you're doing," in my mind, I'm like, "Oh no, this is horrible. We gotta pick it up. We gotta do better."
Well, we're on the same page with that, my man. I've been doing this 13 years now, and I still have that damn imposter syndrome. So
oh man, no,
it happens. I think that's a good thing, though. It keeps you wanting to keep elevating and go to the next thing. If you don't have that, I mean, it's probably better not having it, but. If you rest on your laurels, man, you just kind of fall into the same routine, especially with weddings.
Yep.
It's really easy to fall into the same thing.
I think that's the best way to put it. You literally having imposter syndrome keeps your mind chasing something new. It keeps that creative spark. Because if you feel like, oh, 100%. I made it, I'm good, I'm at the top of the food chain, then you stop trying to maintain that. You accept that 100%. I am the best or I'm the greatest at this. And then there's like, okay, what's next? There's always a higher tier. And I think that imposter syndrome, as bad as it is, there's some days where like I don't even watch my work because I feel like, oh, this is just bad. Well, man, I've been wanting to ask this just from, you have a very strong style that you have this look where you bring this in. I don't know how much of it is staged or not, which is one of my questions was when you get these shots like Simone and the girls on the bed or oh boy, look in the heel. Is this influenced by you at all? Do you have any kind of insight on getting your couples to that level of excitement and joy?
100%. So my biggest thing that I've learned coming into weddings is I see so many people where they will really just ride the coattails of whoever's doing the photography. And, that's one approach to do it. But I like to definitely collab is the biggest thing. And by collab is where I'm definitely bringing getting my shot that's separate from the photographer. And 9 times out of 10, the photographer's like, oh, dang, that's dope. Let me get that as well. And so it's definitely a process. But yeah, I mean, and personality, man. I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but going into a wedding day, you gotta have a personality where you want them to feel like you've known them for years, you know? And where it's not uncomfortable having a camera. And so I'm hyping them up. So like for Simone, for example.
He's talking about Simone Biles, by the way. So if y'all aren't familiar, we're talking about Simone Biles, okay? Like not just Simone from down the street. We're talking about the GOAT, okay? So let's just clarify that Tony filmed Simone Biles' wedding.
But like them jumping on the bed and stuff. So like what I was saying, the photographer will get like, who I shot that with Stanlow Photography, he's
another
awesome
industry GOAT, man. Another industry
He's a GOAT for sure. And you know, they'll get like, all right, now cheer kind of thing. And then I get that, and which is great because I love that because I can punch in and get reactions of other people. And then I'll step in and say, all right, now that was just a prelude. Now I want y'all to get hype this girl up, you know, and really bring in an energy where they're like, and I'll say 3, 2, 1, action. And then they'll like, wow. And then they like, you really want to get them amped for that shot. Even with pose stuff, I like to really get in there and not just copy. I like to get in there and really, okay, here's what I want to do. And it's really just taking the time to, you know, I'm always, while I'm shooting, I got my, you know, my peripheral going like, oh, that angle's dope, that reflection's dope, shadows. You know, it's really kind of thinking on your feet. And just that, I think that comes with just, you know, years of experience of like, you know what you got to get.
I feel like you have to know your couple too. I was going to ask that, does that energy,
for sure.
Does that stage mindset that you bring, does that change based on the energy that your couples are sharing?
Most people who book me want that energy, have that energy, and I just lucked out where very few don't have that energy when I show up. You know, kind of they want that for their wedding, and they want that for their wedding video.
There was something you said that I just kind of want to circle back to because I think it's genius. I don't even know if you caught it. But this is something that when I, you know, teach this style that we do as far as like the reality and trying to like be so aware of what's happening, you said something that I say all the time to people, all the time. What he said, y'all, is he said when he's filming and the photographer is getting a shot, right? Photographers like, you know, doing their thing. I want y'all to lean in and say cheers and, you know, doing the usual, right? The photo op. You said instead of filming that, you zoom in and you get reactions. And I'm just like, my mind instantly lit up with joy because when I'm filming the reality style, everyone's like, how you get all these angles, you get all these shots? It's because when there's not something happening or something that's relevant for that part of the dialogue that I'm chasing, then I'm punched in getting reactions. And then I use those reactions and match it with a conversation. So now it looks like we've got all these reactions
100%.
Happening. But it happened like way earlier. It's being aware of like, man, look at their faces. These girls are having fun. Let's punch in.
Yep.
And then when we get this wide shot, we can splice in 3 or 4 cutaways and boom, you got
100%.
A moment. Like, dude, it's good to hear that because it really is as fast paced as weddings is. I think it's even faster for a filmmaker because you got to get all of it at different angles.
100%.
You know, different perspectives, switching sides, all within the blink of an eye.
It absolutely proves a point. You got to be aware, and you got to get what you got to get. You know, to make not only a teaser. Now it's teasers, it's trailers, it's doc edits. You know, you got to have all this stuff. You know, I see a lot. I've been to a few weddings as a guest, so I kind of watch the videographers and see. It was my cousin's wedding, and during like photos, you know, like the family photos, all that stuff, I guess this is a thing. I mean, I saw these guys just sitting down. They weren't getting any of that content. And to me, there's gold in that content of the family stuff. And it's not even really, at that moment, I kind of take a back seat because a lot of times it's like we're in a rush and photographers got to get their shots.
You got to let them get through the timeline.
But it's the moments in between the pose to the switching.
Yep.
There's hugs, there's laughing, there's
kisses on the
people
cheek.
Cheering on the side.
Yes.
There's the bridesmaids having drinks on the side while the groomsmen are over there while the family's up there. There's so much going on and so much great content. To take a seat during that, I just don't get.
Something that I preach a lot when I'm doing my consultation calls with my couples. And I think one of the things I always tell them is like, listen, I'm going to show up and make a film about you, not for you.
Yeah.
And the whole difference is like to make a film about someone, you need everyone else's perspective to tell you that. I don't need the bride and groom to tell me how they met. I want to find that out by their mom and their dad and their best friend. And even for the couple, they didn't know the perspectives of everyone else, you know? And the fact that you said, you know, focusing on cocktail hour and, you know, the family photos and capturing those little in-between seconds, you know, they hug and then, or they stage for the photo and then they go off and they do more. You're filming all of this. The entire time that that's happening, your couple is still in that spotlight taking photos.
They're in a zone that they won't remember that stuff. So it's our job to kind of make those memories for them. When they look back, they're not just seeing them, they're seeing the day in its full.
That's the only thing that I think that irks me the most about our wedding film is that it's 15 minutes of me and my wife, you know? And I say this all the time. I said it on the live stream a while back. I'm like, look, I love it. I think it was cute when we first got it. But then now I'm like, well, where's my mom? Where's my grandma? Where's my son? My son was 4. Where's he at? You know? And so the fact that you think of that, man, I think that's really what not only will elevate you as an artist, you know, doing what you're doing, but the industry as a whole. Let's segue into your reels, and I just kind of want to know, like, your motivation behind your edits. How do you get
100%.
this inspiration in the edit?
Again, it comes down to a vibe from the couple and then a vibe from the full day. But I'd say the most views I get is like the real moment stuff. So like first look, groom crying is always a banger.
It sucks because you can't play it. As an artist, it's like I still haven't got my groom crying shot. Like I've been in it 5 years
groom
and
crying.
I'm waiting for it. Like the ball
But
out
the
crying,
thing the ball out crying is always a winner. But I try to not just do, I still try to do my style to that moment. Instead of just doing like a raw, her walking in, I still try to edit it to music and really kind of create a cinematic scene with the crying.
Well, I think even some of the shots you get bring such a different, like there was one, I mean, it looked like you had like a crane booming down and she was like next, either on the bed, I forgot the pose, but like.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that reel like 10 times. I'm like, how the hell did he get this shot?
That's my ass on the bed with her.
What?
14 millimeter coming gimbal.
Bro, you need to start getting behind the scenes. I would be the first fan to watch that, bro.
I'm always thinking of a purpose for the movement. So a lot of times, you know, and it's not just like, let's say for First Dance, for example, instead of just like keep constantly spinning around them with the same thing, I like to go way back and go through the florals and through people and over the shoulders of people and getting them where they're like this big and then going in. And so it's always something to cut to where my second shooter is getting a nice, you know, medium shot or even a close-up where I have something to cut to. And then a third camera getting like a wide that's just consistent. But listen, it's all about connections. It's all about showing up and being personable. I mean, you gotta be, you can't be a curmudgeon coming in and they want somebody who knows you're gonna turn in dope work and knows you're gonna turn it in fast and look good. And also that you're fun to work, like you're just a good hang.
You gotta fit the vibe.
You gotta fit the vibe.
And you're like not in the energy, not with the energy, it's gonna be awkward, man, for everybody.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. You for sure wouldn't get a call back. But I still think you need to have a level of energy or personality. You should at some point become personable with your couples. You can still be introverted.
100%.
Like I'm sure Like you have an energy.
I'm
I have an
introverted.
energy. Yeah, like,
I'm introverted.
I would say I'm introverted. I just definitely, I'm not shy when it comes to knowing that I'm here for work. But I open up. I'm very, very personable with my couples, and I let them know like my beliefs and my passions for, and my own pain points for my own wedding film is why I kind of led a different direction and why I'm going to film theirs better, so to speak.
Right. Well, people, and especially in a wedding where by reception, they've gotten your vibe already by that point.
Yep.
And then if you start rolling up to them, they're going to just shut down or turn around.
I'm outta
You're not
here.
going to
I'm
get your
outta
thing. Yeah, I'm out of here. It's like, oh, Jesus, here he comes again. I'm already tipsy. I don't want to even deal with that.
No, man,
So
I agree. It's dope to hear, man. Even y'all can hear this for himself. He said, Tony's an introvert, but when he shows up to work, it's gonna be a party. We lit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, what would you I guess in closing, what would you want to bless anyone new into the filmmaking space to either develop a style, find a style, or just stay motivated and courageous and kind of outgoing during their wedding days?
I think the most important thing is to, on the wedding day, like we'd already talked about, try and create your own unique shots that are independent of anyone else. Kind of create your moments. And also, like we talked about, like getting reactions from everyone, getting all that stuff. It's more than just the couple on wedding day. It's creating a story of the whole day. The day is the third character in the story. So it's really just being true to yourself. And then your style just kind of evolves from that.
Your work is amazing. It speaks for itself. You're filming with celebrities. I think that's a goal we all. I've never filmed a celebrity wedding. We're all chasing that.
Yeah.
Keep doing it though, man. It's inspiring. It's
Thank you,
motivating, and I know people. If y'all don't know who he is, shame on you. You should know who he is. But where can they follow you and support you, man?
So my Instagram is Iris Films ATL. On TikTok, it's Iris Films, and on YouTube, it's Iris Films ATL as well.
Iris Films ATL on Instagram, Iris Films, and I'll leave it if you're watching the video podcast. I'll leave this down below in the comments. You'll see it here on Spotify. But until next time, y'all, this is a great talk. Thank you, Tony, for hopping in.
I loved it.
That's going to wrap us up for this week's segment of Filmmaker Spotlight. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. I think we definitely,
hit some topics that I feel like a lot of people need to hear.
So we're going to be bringing it to you. Like I said in the intro, we're bringing it to your front door, okay? If you don't know what that means we knocking at your address, okay?
Oh my God.
We outside. You hear me? Open up. No, I was just playing. But anyways, pull up. But anyways, this is it for this week's episode. Again, we are here every Wednesday, so make sure you tune in. Stream us anywhere you get your podcast. Watch the video episodes on Spotify, the Academy if you're a member, or over on YouTube. And until the next episode, y'all, keep crushing it. And
we out of here.
We out of here. We will see y'all then.
We got work to do.
Let's go. Peace. That's it.